And joining me now is the Republican who has been in charge of the House version of the Russia investigation for the Intel Committee, Congressman Mike Conaway of Texas. Congressman, welcome to Meet the Press.
Well, good morning. My first Sunday morning show ever.
Well,
so I should be in church at Sunday school, but I'm here with you instead.
I appreciate that, and my apologies to your pastor on that front. Let me start with something Andrew McCabe said following his firing, because it involves the committee that you're a part of. He said the release of this report, referring to the Inspector General report on his conduct, was accelerated only after my testimony to the House Intelligence Committee revealed that I would corroborate former Director Comey's accounts of his discussions with the president. Can you tell us if that sentence, if it's true that that's what McCabe did in front of your committee?
I don't know how the Inspector General got access to that testimony in front of our committee. If he did, I'm unaware of it, so I'll have to run that to ground. But I don't know how the Inspector General would have gotten that unless he got it from McCabe during his conversation with McCabe. So in terms of his testimony in front of us, I don't know how the IG would have gotten it.
So there is no way transcripts of Andrew McCabe's testimony are going to end up in the hands of, say, the White House? Or
No, they're not supposed to.
They're not supposed to under any circumstance.
Well, I mean, yes, we could vote to have that happen, but no, that was committee-sensitive information that should have stayed within the committee. And so, if the Inspector General got permission to do it, he didn't ask me to do it and had to go a different route.
How would you characterize McCabe's testimony to you?
I had some experience with Andrew McCabe, but at the time he was giving it, you're listening to it, you're trying to analyze for veracity and those kinds of things. But, he's a guy that's not used to being questioned like that. He's the guy who's usually questioning someone else. So he was uncomfortable, but I thought he was, trying to tell us what.
You thought he was forthcoming? You felt like he was trying to tell you the truth?
We knew it, but if that proves to be incorrect, then that was a bad judgment on my part. But nothing that he said, we said, well, Mr. McCabe, that's just clearly wrong, X, Y, and Z. We didn't have any kind of confrontation like that.
Do you understand why many people think he's not been treated fairly in the public square?
I don't have access to the personnel records that the FBI did to see that.
President of the United States targeted him President of the United States targeted him for over a year. That created this cloud over him. Which I
don't know what he did to the FBI. All the facts will come out. It's pretty unfair of us to speculate at this point.
But it's an appropriate use of the bully pulpit. I mean, was that fair for the president to single him out like that? It made it so that he was in an untenable position, did it not?
If he did his job, if he told the truth, then he wouldn't have been in those. We'll see. Again, we don't have access to actually what he did or didn't do. We've got both competing narratives going on out there, and the facts will support one or the other.
Did he back up Comey's contention that he was fired because of the Russia probe?
When?
During his testimony to you, Mr. McCabe.
He wasn't fired when he testified to us.
No, I'm talking about, did he back up Mr. Comey's contention that Mr. Comey said he thought one of the reasons the FBI that James Comey was fired, and himself, the reason he was fired, he had testified that he thought it had to do with the Russia probe. Did Andrew McCabe back up James Comey's testimony?
It's been a while since I sat through that testimony. I haven't read it recently. We were focused not so much on that as because that feeds into the collusion issue, and our committee was not charged with answering the collusion idea, so we really weren't focused on that direction. But I'd have to go back and check.
All right, I want to ask you. I know you're now saying that your committee was not focused on the collusion idea. You said on Monday in a conference call, at the end of the day, we believe that the broader evidence available to us was that they, referring to the Russians, favored her, Hillary Clinton, over him, Donald Trump. And the main issue was to sow discord. The next day, you reversed that statement, saying, no, they were trying to help Donald Trump. Definitively, what is your conclusion on this?
Well, everybody gets to make their own mind. What we did with the ICA, which was what drove those comments, and I got us off on the wrong track, quite frankly, is that we wanted to look at the analytical integrity of that process throughout the ICA. And we agree with most of it. We'll have a second report on this that effort. But the idea that Putin wanted to help Trump, that came out of the ICA, we don't believe that was supported by the standard tradecraft of analytics. Each of us gets to make up our own mind of what we said happened. Only Putin knows for sure what he was doing during that time frame, and he might have changed his ideas across that 6-year.
But you just said your job wasn't to figure out if there was collusion in the committee.
That's right.
Okay, then why is Devin Nunes claiming, well, there's no evidence of collusion if you didn't even investigate this aspect of it?
Well, that's a tinker's average chance, Todd. That I don't understand. Say that again.
Well, Devin Nunes has gone out there saying all the evidence he's seen, there is no There has been no collusion.
No evidence of collusion.
No evidence of collusion.
Right.
But if you're not investigating collusion, then you haven't sought the evidence.
That's all we investigated. We didn't investigate his obstruction of justice issue. That's what we investigated. Was there collusion between the Trump campaign and the Russians, or was there collusion between the Clinton campaign and the Russians?
Did you interview George Papadopoulos?
No, we did not.
Okay. If you didn't interview George Papadopoulos, somebody who apparently is the person that triggered the investigation because he was bragging about potential access to damaging information on Hillary Clinton. If you didn't interview him, just that one, and there's other people you didn't interview, how can you draw this conclusion definitively?
Well, he got outside the opportunity for us to interview him when he was charged, and he's got caught up in the Mueller investigation. We're trying to stay away from the Mueller investigation and not confuse that or hurt it one way or the other. So that part of the timing frame front. The other issue is we couldn't feel a real good link between the Papadopoulos himself and his braggadociousness and the Trump campaign. He was a kind of at the edge of the circumstances. And then after he,
how do you know that if you didn't interview him?
Well, all the other information we got and all the information we got about him, talked about him, he was not somebody that seemed to be a player in the long term.
Do you regret trying to draw a conclusion on collusion? My apologies, that is a tough phrase to say. Do you now regret trying to draw a conclusion about collusion?
No. Well, we haven't drawn that. What we said, Chuck, is that we found no evidence of it. There may or that's a different statement. We found no evidence of collusion.
Tom Rooney, who's a member of the Intel Committee, said the committee has gone off the rails, and he says we've lost all credibility, and we're going to have to issue probably 2 different reports, unfortunately, and no one's going to really. He's implying that no one's going to know what to believe. Is he right?
I need to talk to Tom about that. What I believe is that by Thursday, I hope that the Democrats will fold in whatever it is they want to put in the report into the report that we're drafting at this point in time, and that we'll have that one report. I think the issues with respect to what the Russians did cyber-wise, social media-wise, they'll agree with. What our system needs to do to protect itself from in the 18 election, certainly the 2020 election, that the Democrats will agree with that. They'll disagree with us on whether or not we found evidence of collusion, and they could have that section written in there differently. So we have one report that will answer much of the question that we wanted to. The collusion issue, we found no evidence of it. The Democrats think they have. They've not shared that with us if they have. I've shared all of my evidence we've got with them, but if they've got evidence of collusion, they haven't shared it with us.
Does the blockbuster story about Cambridge Analytica and Facebook make you want to reopen the investigation?
No, it's a different issue.
Why is it a different issue?
Well,
Cambridge Analytica worked for the Trump campaign, had potential contracts with the Russians, manipulated Facebook data. Is this not part of your investigation? Why wouldn't you want to reopen the investigation to focus on this?
So if there was criminal activity there, then that's the Justice Department's responsibility. I don't have criminal prosecutorial tools to make that happen. We are already confident that the Russians meddled in the campaign. We also know going forward that they likely do.
So you're done. No reopening of this investigation under any circumstance.
Hang on. The oversight responsibility of the Intel Committee is ongoing. We will always watch what Putin does or doesn't do. We will always watch what these other actors around the world will do. So our oversight responsibilities are ongoing. If something came up that caused us to need to look at something, absolutely we'll look at that.
Mike Conaway, I have to leave it there, Republican from Texas. Thanks for coming on.
My pleasure.
Missing church this morning. I hope your pastor forgives you.
I need
you coming on.
I need my pastor's forgiveness. I need Jesus Christ's forgiveness.
Fair enough. Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and then click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.